Back to Space Pickle Designs. Today I'm going to make a necklace out of the Jesse James Magical Mystery Bead Box for April 2024 in the theme of wildflowers here. So what I did is I pulled this bead mix called Prairie Flowers from the box, as well as some of those gold bead caps that I didn't use from the strand, and the green seed beads here, as well as the pendant that came in the box. The additional things that I brought out here are just some 26 gauge gold craft wire from Softflex. I got some antique copper spacer beads here from Bargain Bead Box. I got some silver silk findings here to use with this silver silk leather knitted wire chain. And I got some jump rings and a clasp over here, again in that antique copper color. And then I pulled out some of these. So these right here are Swarovski Jet AB ×2, and these are a 4mm bicone here, and I think that's going to add a lot of dimension to this color palette. I also have some of these blush 4mm bicones. It looks like it has an AB on them as well. And then I brought out some of these green seed beads in a larger size. I think these are an 8/0, just in case we need it. All right, so my thinking is with this necklace is that we are going to feed this pendant on to the silver silk, and I gave myself a little more than what I think I will need for the silver silk, just so I can make sure. The thing I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this and put this off to the side, as well as the findings over here. I'll put these in a little cup. And what I want to do is look at this bead mix. So let's pour out this bead mix. And there are some things in here that I know for sure I'm not going to use. I don't think I'm going to use this guy, but we'll keep him there anyway. I think I want to get rid of these bead caps. Again, these are the filigree bead caps. We'll put those off to the side. I'm not going to use these guys. I kind of want to save that. Well, you know what? Since this is silver silk, we'll keep them out because we could actually just feed those onto the silver silk itself. So what I want to do is take the rest of the beads that are in here, and what I want to do is mix them with some of the seed beads. So let's get some of those out and ready. And as you can see, there are some green beads in here, and these are just in like little cubes. So I kind of want to pull some more of that green out. I'm going to get some of our 8/0s out here. I'm going to get some of these spacer beads. I love these spacer beads. And put this off to the side. I'm going to get some bicones. Let's see if that color hits. What are you thinking about that? Let's zoom in a little bit. I really kind of like that because it plays off the yellow and the yellow crystals, as well as bringing some of the green out. The only thing that doesn't have in this color palette here already is like that bluish tint, but I think it kind of works. So we're just going to keep a few of those out. I'm going to take out some of these blush bicones as well. And what I hope to do is take this silver silk, and we're actually just going to start kind of like wire wrapping the silver silk. So I'm going to use small chunks, and by small chunks I mean like 15 inches. So we'll start with 15 inches, thereabouts, with this Softflex wire, and this is a 26 gauge. And so what I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to find the middle. That's why I have my pendant on here too. And we're going to start from one side. So I'm going to start on the right side, and I'm going to anchor this chain, or this wire. I'm just going to do that by wire wrapping it a couple times. And the whole point is for this to look organic, because I kind of want it to look like a wire. So I'm going to wrap around there a few times. I mean, I kind of want it to look like a vein. Sorry, it's been not a vein, a vine. It's been a very long day, so I'm sorry. All right, so what we're gonna do here, now that I've got myself anchored, is let's pull you out a little bit. I'm just gonna start taking some of these beads on here, and I think I want to start with some green beads. So I'm gonna start with the beads that came in the box, and then I'm going to get a little bit larger. So I'm going to use some of those 8/0s. I'm going to put them down to the piece of work here. and I'm gonna anchor them. So I'm gonna wrap it around. And I like that some of the wire is showing. That's totally okay. And so when we're getting like to the front here, let's go ahead and put on a big bead. So let's get a flower going. And since we have a flower here, I want to go back down into the bead. I just push this down to my work here. And then let's see what I want to use for the middle. I think we'll use one of these crystals. So put it back down to the work. And I love that color. And we're just gonna feed the wire back down into the flower. And because this is 26 gauge, it's pretty easy to do that. And so what we have is like a little flower bud. And we're gonna anchor that by wrapping this around again a couple times. All right, so let's just feed some more beads on here. Again, I'm gonna lean heavily onto the green because I really do like green, but I also think it provides a lot of depth. So let's add one of these beautiful Swarovski crystals, a couple more 8-Os, a few more of the 11-Os, and let's see what that looks like. So we're kind of making a crazy little thing here. All right. I'm loving it so far. Let's go ahead and add, I think I want to add a yellow bead here. Nothing special with this guy. I think we can just wrap him on. Anchor it once. Let's do you like how this is looking? I'm really liking it. I'll zoom you in to show you kind of what it looks like. So it's a very organic piece here, as you can see, and I think it's just because it's gonna have to be, right? So I think let's go with some more 11-Os. Let's put one of those spacer beads in there. Push it down. Anchor it. I think it's time for another big bead. So let's do a bead cap with a bigger bead inside. Let's do one of these guys. And then we'll top it with one of those 8-Os in the green. So this is kind of what we're looking at like right here. So it kind of looks like a flower in and of itself, right? So we're gonna skip that 8-O, go back through the bead and the bead cap. And pull that down. So you kind of have to mess with it a little bit. It still is wire, you know, so that's part of the fun of it. Okay, so we got that down. And we're gonna keep anchoring it on. Just make sure to go ahead and wrap a couple times after every big bead like that, so we're kind of anchoring it. So we're making a lot of texture here, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna keep doing this, adding small pieces of wire throughout and building up that bulk. And I'm gonna work on this side off camera a little bit, and I'll come back and show you what I got. Before I end this piece of wire though, I did want to show you kind of some of the things that I'm gonna do with these ends. And what I'm gonna do are make these little teeny spirals for some of them. I'm just using my round nose pliers here. And as you can see here, I'm gonna kind of tuck it under the flower. Make sure like there's no pokey bits. Run your finger over it a few times, but I think incorporating a spiral like that makes it look more like a vine. And so it's not going to scratch you, and it's going to be facing like the front of the piece right here. So it should be okay on your clothes. There's no sticky outy parts, and I think it gives that little vine detail. All right, so let's go ahead and continue and work up this one side of the silver silk. I'm gonna probably work up 6 inches on both sides. I still want there to be some exposed silver silk because it is just so beautiful. All right, let's continue. Okay, so I'm done with that side of the necklace. I think I stopped short of 6 inches. It's probably more like 4.5, 5 inches, but I thought that was good enough. And so I'm gonna zoom you in to show you kind of what it looks like. And as you can see in the background here, we've got so many more beads left over than I thought we would. But this is what it's looking like. And I did a bulk of the bigger flowers down towards the pendant. And then I kind of tapered it off, and then I did a big wrap around at the end here with a big old spiral, as you can see here. And so what I aimed to do was kind of keep the bulk of the beads facing front, and you'll see that like that, right? Because the back kind of is a little bare, but it's okay because even if the back is showing, it's still gonna look really, really interesting. So I did use that filigree flower here, and what I do want is to replicate the length on the other side, but I do want to switch it up. So maybe I'll start more with the filigree flower closer to the pendant down here. And so in order to start this, let's go ahead and get another big old piece of the 26 gauge wire. And I picked gold on purpose because I did want that to show. If you didn't want it to show as much as what you're seeing right there, then go ahead and pick that like dark bronze colored wire. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a couple wraps here, and it's gonna kind of anchor that pendant into place. And we'll clean up that end when we do our finishing touches. But that should keep the pendant in place, and it does. And we'll go ahead and just kind of like bend that out of the way. But in case the camera angle wasn't so good to start off with, because I was a little bit all over the place there, I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple more rounds with you. And so I like to start out with some of those really tiny 11-0 seed beads just to start right near the pendant. I'm gonna add an 8-0, 11-0, 8-0. Let's do a copper bead, and then we'll end with an 11-0. And because I'm right-handed, what I'm actually gonna do is flip the work like this so that I can go clockwise. Do you see what I'm saying? So what I'm doing right now is pushing the beads. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna push the beads down and kind of start wrapping. Move my pliers out of the way. And what we're just gonna do is just like anchor those beads by using just a bare wrap of wire. From then, you can go ahead and I'm gonna pick up one of these crystals. I love these. I think that added a really nice pop of color. And we're gonna kind of let that hang towards the front here. So there's a way to place your beads. You just have to make sure that they're right there. Do your little wrap to secure them. And then just add more beads. So I'm gonna do a little bit of these 11-0s again, and then we're gonna add our filigree flower, and I'll show you kind of how I did that. So 8-0, 11-0 here. Let's bring it down. Yeah, that's gonna face towards the front here. And so what I wanna do now, after I anchor these beads, I wanna pick up one of those filigrees. So we're gonna bring the filigree all the way down, and it kind of covers up some of those beads that we already did, but that's totally fine. And I really like that pop of that crystal right in the middle. So what we're gonna do is replicate that by putting the crystal on like this and kind of holding it, okay? You have your filigree down here. You're gonna put it back through the hole in your filigree. And while kind of holding that crystal, you're gonna pull the wire, making sure to keep that filigree nice and close to the side of that silver silk. So that puts your filigree in place, and now all you have to do is anchor it in place with your wire. And I like to do like about 2 wraps, and it's under that filigree, so you're not gonna see it if it's a little messy. It actually looks better if it is a little messy, in my opinion. Because like nature is not perfect, right? All right, so we got that anchored down. We're gonna add some more beads here. Again, I'll start out with some of those smaller beads. So let's get some of the 11-Os. I really love that Jesse James beads included the seed beads. I think seed beads are so underrated when it comes to stringing. Let's add a blush bicone and some more seed beads. Let's anchor those down. It's all about that layering. Anchor those down. Let's get one of these orange flowers here. And on the other side, I put a blush bicone, so I'm going to kind of mirror that. Again, keep your bicone near the top so it doesn't stop your wire. You can hold it between your thumb and finger there. And then just put it back down the middle of that flower. I love those little acrylic flowers. And then you got your flower. So if you see there's a little bit of a gap there in the wire, you can really just wind that around, tighten it up. This is why wire is so fun, because you can really make it do whatever you want. And again, we just wire wrap. So I'm going to turn the work back around here, and you can kind of see what we're working with. So this will be the front, and you can adjust as you go. And that's kind of just a little extra just in case you couldn't see it earlier. I'm going to keep working up the side. I'm going to kind of mirror that tapered effect, and then I'll meet you back. But this is what we're looking like so far. Okay, so I've beaded up both sides here, and as you can see, this is what I'm working with. And so it is asymmetric, it's whimsical, it's got some sparkle in there, it's got a really cool pendant. And so all I'm gonna do is finish off this necklace using some silver silk findings. And I found that even though these were meant for that capture chain, they still work really well on the leather cord. So I'm just gonna make sure I get the leather cord up in there really good, because there's a little bit of, I feel that the tension really does keep it in there. I've not had any problems with that. A little bit of that wire sticking through here on the side. So you want to make it sure it's as closed as possible. Little piece of fuzzy on the end. And so I've made it to where those silver silk logos are pointing outwards. So if you happen to see the back of your neck, they will be facing outwards. So what I'm gonna do now is take a jump ring. These are just some small 4mm jump rings here. I'm gonna attach the clasp. I'm gonna attach the toggle on the right side here. Gonna make sure that's closed really, really well. I'm gonna attach the ring on the other side just because I'm right-handed. And this will be a personal piece of mine. I don't know if I can get rid of it. I really do love it. Let's see here. Right, let's close that jump ring really well. And then now you have your necklace. All right, so I'm gonna put it on the form and then we'll see what she looks like. So here's what she looks like on the form. I really think this is such a cool, whimsical piece. I know that these colors aren't typically used for spring. It's more of like a fall vibe for me, but I'm really loving it. I think it kind of breaks up some of those springy, bright pink pastels, all that type of thing for spring, and I think it was a really refreshing little bead mix that we got. I'm really loving the addition of some of those Jet AB crystals. I think it brings out another little dimension in here. So I'm just gonna do some close-up videos for the outro, just so you can see some of the detail on it. But let me know what you thought about this necklace down below. If you have a bead mix and you have some silver silk, you can do this necklace. It doesn't have to be this bead mix in particular, but if you have another Jesse James bead mix or a soft flex bead mix laying around, you can do necklaces like these. It's a super easy, translatable technique. So I hope you all are staying safe and well out there. And until the next one, I'll